guys, we're just gonna keep on going, learn about the swarmers and this end time stuff. And there's just what I think I've told you guys this before in prior ones, but there's like hundreds of the prophecies pointing to Christ, and you guys always remember your positive for your negatives, like I taught you about everything. Um, so if there's like 39 major easy to find events, I know of at least 39 too of Antichrist, because it's like a chess game, like checkers. It's a chess game because they're moving big, but for long term. But it goes back and forth, you guys. And you guys, if we're gonna learn about the oil here, and this is part of the thing that ties in with the Middle East and Europe and so on, and the bear, the Russia, it's stuff that was going on um, with Saddam, Iraq, Babylon, the Middle Eastern Empire being formed. And Saddam started that, you guys. And that's why he invaded Kuwait by the Garden of Eden, was he wanted to rebuild Babylon. And he was a modern day Nebuchadnezzar, so in that sense he filled that. He had all the bricks stamped with it, like just like Nebuchadnezzar did. He had them re-stamped. And then they found him just like Nebuchadnezzar, and they found Saddam in the hole, remember? The Tower of Babel, you guys. Nimrod built the Tower of Babel to defy God, and God promised that no more flood, because this is after the flood, right? So he said, I'll never flood the earth again. You got the rainbow, and here you go, you got them sending and they're intermixing. And that's what I was saying, all tribes were there, all are back to Adam and Eve of every tribe. We should send take two of all flesh that I send to you, in which is the breath of life. And I told you guys, just like that's how the second influx made it third also. And they all start intermixing between every color and into the giant. So here we go again. So they start getting scared and they build this Tower of Babel, but their mortar will get washed away. It's a slime mortar, but the bricks are like better than the ones we got today. So they start building this tower because the continents are drifting also at this time still. So they start seeing that, oh, God's getting mad at us. So he looks down. I thought God withdrew his promise, and they're building. And their own sin led them away, you guys, against God, because they didn't want to listen. And he reintroduced that seed line, Nimrod did, to all the races, and then that's what the second influx took off again. And that's what God was trying to prevent, was to keep the giants into that one race till they, because they were still producing, like you got giants and then you got their offspring, you guys. So the height and stuff, and I don't think they were really super humongous, like usually most, I think I've heard up to about 15 foot. Most of them were between like 9, 10, 11 foot, you guys. There's probably ones bigger, but that was the point. You can even hear stories where real tall people, they were so scared of it in the past. Real tall people, they'd mate with real short people. But back then, I see their children, when they went back to a pure, all-flesh person, it would throw offspring of a big giant. So that's what he was trying to giant down the race, God, by keeping them breeding within their own peoples, because it was started over. But we said, and then that's when the languages were confounded in that separation, because God went and put an additional barrier between us, and then we had that lack of communication. And that's why, you guys, languages and stuff, that's a gift of the Holy Spirit that we read about. That's one of the gifts that the disciples received, and that's what people misunderstand about the tongue, because the Pentecostal tongue, you guys, we know that that's the tongue spoken of when people are delivered up to the church is the Antichrist in the end. God says it's not you that speaks, but the Holy Spirit through you. See, that's the only unpardonable sin, you guys. It's to say, like, you could teach against Jesus here and say, well, not all his teachings are correct, but to blaspheme the Holy Spirit when it comes on you when you're delivered up and it's coming out of your mouth and you hold it and force it shut, then that's blasphemy. And that's unforgivable. That's the only unforgivable sin, it says. Okay, with the oil states in the Middle East, about all of them, you guys, are the sons of Ishmael. Okay, and the Arabs own 95% Muslim. It's the Arab nation. Okay, and just like I said with the turbans, each one wears it as a crown, as if that they're kings. And then Jacob and Esau kept Satan's seed line going. And God said, Jacob I loved, Esau I hated, and that was when they were still in his stomach. And it didn't mean that God, how's God going to hate a baby? It's because he was one, see, and this is a perfect example, because it was a pure bloodline, and then here comes Esau. And it's regards to the first earth age. God says he didn't care nothing about his heritage there, and he doesn't care anything about his heritage here. And she says, why are they fighting? They kept kicking their stomach. He said, you have two nations in your womb. So he already knew what he was going to do. And he went off and he took a wife of the Middle East instead of staying in the tribe. And see, here was, Christ wasn't born yet. So, and then we got the intermixture thing from the garden, from the Tower of Babel. So they're trying to keep their bloodline. And then here, Esau goes straight to the intermix of part giant, part DNA of God. 1612, sons of Ishmael is the wild. The definition's wild man, which and it goes to wild donkey to wild ass of a man, and it's left Judah and helped keep that giant seed line going. And there's 26 groups of Muslims, you guys, and there's Sunni, and I don't even know what that is. The Hayyo party, and there's Shia, with the Summa. There's some other names, and I probably mispronounced them ones wrong, you guys. We're trying to give you more here. And see, like, that was one of the gifts, you guys, was the languages, you know, so, and we all can learn that stuff, but some just pick it up easy. So, in the Jordan, many Palestinians, you guys, they trace their heritage to Esau, and Saudi got worried about running into Jordan oil lines over there. So $1 billion a year Saudi oil Arabs paid them to not drill for oil, because they were scared they were going to find oil and drive the market down, and Israel would control it. And Esau is Edom, it's Rouge, red, the red nation, Rouge, Russia, just like Esau means red and hairy all over. The Mideast branch, and once again, I'll say that was a pure race when he come out, red, hairy all over, and that's Ha'adam, that white race, means to show red in the face. So that's something to remember too. That's what Hebrews are, is to show red in the face. The Palestinians, that's the Middle Eastern branch Esau lives. And the U.S. gained right to 9,000 to Saudi oil in 60 years at least, you guys. From 1920 to 2006, 86 years U.S. history, 120,000 square miles, 6 states had access to Kuwait. About 6, 7, 8 rich oil states over there. 1517 to 1617, it was under Turkish rule. And we'll come back and we'll finish learning about the swarmers and the oil, you guys.